Hello, this is Danny from CG Dreams, and today this is a quick video just on how to get the distribution map for Ornatrix to work. I'm going to do this really quick, and we're going to start off with the good old sphere. So let's get the sphere into the scene, and then we're going to give it a more respectable size. That's to say 20 centimeters or something like that. Next thing is I'm going to send this over to ZBrush, but you can stay within Cinema 4D to do this as well. The main thing is that the sphere has a UV map and it's got a distribution map that's painted or textured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over into ZBrush because that's my preferred method of doing that. And then inside here we're going to start from scratch with this sphere, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in reverse, and I'm going to show you how to reverse it back in Cinema 4D. Now what I mean by this is I like to paint black on white rather than white on black, because when you saturate your model in pure black, it's really hard to see where it is you're actually painting on. So I like to do the reverse. First of all, that's just remove any textures that's already on this object because they are not needed. I'm going to make sure the color's white, go to color in the menu and then fill object. So now this object is filled completely white, and I'm going to go up a few subdivisions for this object, and then I'm going to go to the black color and I'm going to paint on here where I want the hair to grow. Now in this example I'm just going to do a few blobs so it's really obvious, and we need to make sure that we've got Z-Add turned off and RGB turned on. And I'm just going to paint a few areas where I want the hair to grow. Just as a quick tip, it's also quite beneficial to use the spray in this instance. I find that especially when you're going around the fringe of the hair and around the hairline, that this gives you a more realistic look around the fringe area to simply do it with little blobs. I'm going to pick a respectable alpha to work with this so that the blobs are more as you would expect. So we've got some on top there, so we expect to see some hair coming out from there and there, and maybe that's to say, probably not the best place because there's a pole there. That's to say we're going to have some kind of ponytail area here as well coming out. A bit odd, I know, but I think you're going to see the whole point of this. Now the next thing is that UV map. I'm going to check that UV map from the UV map area by clicking on the morph, and providing it opens up correctly like it has, then that's absolutely fine. If your UV map is overlapping itself, occupying the same space, then you need to go to delete the UV map and then create a new one from here. I find that the PUV tiles is actually pretty good for most things. Now that I've done this, I'm now going to create the texture. So we go to the texture map area, and then I'm going to click on create, and I'm going to new from poly paint. Now it must be said that in the UV map area is where the resolution gets set, and the texture map area is where it generates it. So I'm going to click on new from poly paint. It's now put this into the map. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply just send this over with Go Z, and it's going to send both over back into Cinema 4D. Back into Cinema 4D, we've got two spheres here. One sphere is simply not the one that we want, so this is the old one. We're going to keep the new one with the texture map on, and you can see here, there it is there with the texture map on. I'm going to rotate this around because it's the wrong orientation for me. That's better. Now this is where the hair is going to grow. At the moment it's been applied as a diffused color map, but we don't need that. What we need is the location of the texture map. I'm going to delete this material. We really don't need it on there, but what I do need is I need to create some hair from Ornatrix. So we're going to go to Ornatrix, we're going to click on add hair, furball, and then create hair. At the moment you can see that the guides and the hair is distributed all over the mesh. Now when we expand the furball of the Ornatrix, there's two areas in where we really are concerned with regarding a distribution map, and that is where the guides are created from and where the hair is grown from. Let's just turn off the hair from guides for the moment, and this is where the guides themselves from the mesh have been created, as you can see there. So the first thing is we need to get that map into here. Now if you saved your map to a folder, this is where you would locate that map from a folder. If you've done what I've done, then you can simply do as follows. So first of all, we need to go down to the distribution map area here, where you can see there. You click on that little arrow, and if you go up to bitmaps, it's automatically going to have it there ready for you to use. And there it is. Now at the moment you'll notice that nothing's happened, and this is because I've created the map in reverse. I've actually flooded it in white and I've then painted in black. As I've mentioned before, I've done this because it's easier for me to see what I'm painting on when I do it that way. However, when you click on this little tiny arrow to the side here of the distribution map, you do have the option to flip those values around. So you can see here in the black point is 0 and the white point is 1. We need to just reverse that. We need to do 1 here and 0 there. And then what that does is it reverses that so it's the correct way around. And you can clearly see that in the thumbnail here, that now the white is the area where the map is going to be distributing the guides. And you can see that that is the actual case with the guides. We need to do exactly the same thing. So what we do is we go to the hair from guides and we go down to the distribution map again. In this particular case, it's the distribution multiplier. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go and select that map, expand it, and then change the black and white points to be reversed. You only need to do this if you follow the workflow that I've just shown you. And now that's done. Now from the hair from guides, you'll notice here that you've got distribution map 0 value. You need to make sure that we up this so that it only appears in the areas that we want the hair to grow from, as you can see there. Now I've added the texture map back onto the sphere just so we can actually see from the diffuse color map exactly where the hair should be growing, and you can see here that it is actually growing from those designed areas from the map. If you find, such in this case, that the guides are still growing from areas it shouldn't do, you can go back to this black point here and you can actually start changing it lower than 1, and you'll see here that a 0.99 seems to clear this up and only have the guides in the correct area. Not sure whether this is a bug or not, but this is what fixes this problem. And now that's done, you can go ahead and start to groom your hair.